Hello everyone, this is a training for teachers and staff on the Raptor Reunification app. I sent some information to all of you in an email of how you would get your password and how you would download the Raptor app. We're going to be using this Raptor app for several different things, for drills, for reunification, and for notification. So I'm going to run you through this today. We're going to be doing a drill next week. I think we're all going to do a lockout drill at the different campuses so we can practice this a little bit, kind of work our way through and find all the bugs. Within the email that I sent you, you should have gotten instructions on how to download the app. If you go to your app store, and this is on your phone or mobile device, either Android or iPhone, whatever it is that you have, go to your app store. You should see the app. You type in Raptor Reunification. It looks just like this. And then download that. It's a free app on your phone. And, you know, we want them on the phone because it's something that's always with you. You're required to have that with you. And when we're rolling through emergencies, this is how we will manage everything. And simply, the Raptor Reunification app for you as a staff member or a teacher is simply to account for yourself and to account for the students that you may have in your classroom or wherever you may be, if you've got students that you are responsible for. Otherwise, it's just to account for yourself. There are several features that it does beyond that, and we'll go into those a little bit later, but for this first drill that we're going to do with everyone on the different campuses, that's all you're going to need to know. So the first thing you'll need to do is go ahead and log on to that app. And once you get it downloaded, if you're a teacher, you're going to have an email that came to you that's going to tell you how to set your password. Your login is simply your Robinson email, and then your password you will set up via that email. If you're a staff member or a paraprofessional, we have not integrated your information over from Skyward yet. So for this first drill, it's just going to be the teachers that are going to be manipulating the app. You're welcome to look on with the teachers that you might be in a classroom with to see how it works as we go through the drill, but it's relatively simple, and this is the information that you can look at when we do get that for every person on the campuses. When you log in, this is the screen that you will see. Once the principals come on the PA and announce that we are in a lockout drill, you're going to see this pop up on your screen. You'll see this notification, which is what you'll see anytime that we have an emergency drill. You'll also get a text message notification as well. Eventually, we don't have that listed in yet because we've got to download everyone's cell phone numbers on there, but right now you're just going to get an email. And it will tell you exactly, just like it does on this screen, this is a lockout drill. It's under the category of secure perimeter. It's the reason it says secure on the outside. Remember, in a lockout, we're basically bringing all students inside the building. That means there's some type of threat outside in the neighborhood or outside the campus. And so we go about our business within the day, keep teaching class, doing all the things that you normally do. It's just whenever a lockout drill is initiated, you'll need to go through that standard response protocol. And one of the things under the standard response protocol is that whenever we're initiating a drill, one of the first things that you do once you see that the drill has occurred, and in this one it tells you that it is a drill, is that you need to take roll for yourself and for your students. So if you touch on that bar that goes across where it says lockout drill on your phone, you're going to notice two screens pop up. You're going to see a black profiled screen on the left, and you'll see one that has a white background on the right. You can use either screen to accomplish what we need to today, which is to account for yourself and for your students. We're going to go ahead and use the one on the left today. So if you'll look on the left-hand side on that menu bar and you see it near the top, it says My Profile and Roster. This is what we're going to use to account for yourself and for your students. So we're going to touch on the screen where it says My Profile and Roster. And when you do that, on your screen, you're going to see, when we do this actual drill, you're going to see your name pop up. Your picture won't be on there, but your name is going to pop up. The first thing you need to do is go down to where it says Status. And you notice here, Emma Johnson's a fictitious person just for the practice drill that we're doing. If you go to Status, it says Unknown. So I'm going to touch on that bar, And when I do, it's going to give me 5 choices of status: unknown, accounted for, absent, missing, or injured. In this case, I'm accounting for myself, so I'm going to touch along that bar where it says accounted for. And you'll notice underneath Emma Johnson, who is our person here that we're practicing with, which will be you, you're accounted for. And it gives you the time that you're accounted for and your name. Now we need to account for your location. So we're going to go to where it says location. Anywhere along that bar you touch. And it's going to give a list when you do the actual drill. This is just a simulated list. When you do the actual drill, it's going to give you a list of all of the places within your building where you could be. I've gone through and using the maps and the campus maps, put just about every location I can think of, along with outside locations. So like if you're out for a fire drill, or if we had a lockdown and you got caught outside, you could list your location there. If your location is not listed, you see at the top in the orange, it says location not listed. You can go touch on that. You can touch on the bar that says add location, and you could put, front lawn if you wanted to. And that way, that's a unique location. You hit submit and then continue, and you'll see that under status or under location, it has me listed as the front lawn. So if you had no students, you're just a staff member or a teacher, and so you're on conference and you've got no students that you're responsible for, you're done, you're finished. And then all you need to do is just monitor your phone. It should be on silent, and you should monitor that phone. Now let's say that you do have students. So at this point, if you've got students you're accountable for, you go to View Roster, that green tab. Touch on that. You'll see one or two things will pop up. If you are at the intermediate school on up, you're going to see a roster or a list of rosters, and oftentimes it's listed by period, like first period, second period, third period, whatever. At the junior high and high school, that's how all the rosters are going to be listed. So you find the roster of that time of the day when you're doing that drill, and you touch on that, and this will pop up. If you're down at the younger grades, you're going to just see your roster pop up just like this. This should be all the students you have that has been imported from Skyward. Now we need to account for these students, and this is how you do that. You can do it individually, and all you really have to do is go where it says Shannon Armstrong. You touch on the box right next to Shannon Armstrong. You notice that it turns orange and it has a check in it. And you also notice that 2 boxes popped up at the bottom of the page. One says change status, the other says change location. First thing we want to do is change status. So we're going to touch that triangle down at the bottom, and it's going to give us again the 5 choices, and we're going to say accounted for because that student is here. Now we have to go back and touch the box next to Shannon again, and we're going to go down to the box on the right side at the bottom that says change location. We touch on that, and now we tell where that student is at. Let's say we're all in classroom 101. So now you can look next to Shannon's name. She's accounted for, and she's in classroom 101. Let's go to the next student. We've got Candace Erickson. Let's say that Candace went to the counselor right before the drill started. And so we've touched on her name. It turns to orange. At the bottom, we're going to change her status, and we're going to put missing because she's not with you. And so she is missing. Now, the counselor who that student is with should be accounting for that student. So you go ahead and put what the actual status of the student is. If they're not with you, they're missing. All right. And of course, it fills in the location. If you put missing or absent, it automatically fills in NA because you don't know where that student is because you put missing. Let's go down to Lucille Fisher. Go down to change status. Let's say for some reason in whatever happened in the drill that this student was injured. So we're going to touch injured. You see injured is listed on the right. And we need to go touch on Lucille again and then change location down in the bottom right. And let's say she's in room 101 with me, but she is injured. That would alert the administrators of this program who are watching everything unfold in real time on their device. They'll know that we have an injured student in class 101, and we need to get to that student as quickly as possible. Now, there is a shortcut for this. You can see it takes a little bit of time to go down and do it one by one, especially if you have 25 kids in your class. That is the most accurate way to do this, and that's what I suggest you do, especially the first time when we're kind of in a controlled environment and we're doing a lockout drill. You can do that and you get rolling on it. You hit Travis, change status. Most everybody's going to be accounted for. And then you hit Travis again. You go to location. Everybody's in 101. All right, you can see it goes pretty quickly, but there is a shortcut. If you go up to select all, you notice that every student gets highlighted on the left-hand side. And you could go over here and you can hit change status. And you could say that everybody's accounted for. And then you would go to select all again, and then you go to change location at the bottom right, and then you put everybody's in 101. And so that's one way you can do it quickly. You just have to be very careful to know that everyone is accounted for and that everyone is present and they're all in the room with you. Once you've done this, you have finished. You've accounted for yourself. You've accounted for the students. You're done. Now, there are a couple other features that are listed on here that could be helpful. In the lockout drill, you're not going to be doing as much because you're only in your classroom. But let's say as an example, I hit the back button up there and then I hit these three little lines at the top. That's how you get back to this black screen. Let's say that I had a student that was in my room doing some tutoring during the time when we did the lockout drill. I would go to that third menu item from the top that says Student, Staff, and Others. This is where you can add a student or a staff member to your roster. And let's say the student is Lisa Adams. She was in my room doing some tutoring. I'm going to go touch status. And I'm going to put accounted for. I'm going to put location. That student's in 101 with me. And now I'm done. I've added Lisa Adams to my roster. Now if Lisa is in Miss Smith's class, she's going to be listed as missing. But now the computer knows that she's accounted for. And when we're looking on our dashboard for administrators or for first responders, we'll be able to know where that student is, even if they've moved rooms during the time of that location. Let's go back to our menu again. And again, we touching those three bars on the top left. Let's say that we've got a staff member that is absent that day and they have a substitute. Well, the substitute obviously is not going to have this device and not going to have this app on their phone. So you can actually go in and account for any staff member and any student. So if let's say we were doing a fire drill and the group of students right next to you had a substitute, you can walk up to that substitute and you can say, who are you subbing for? I'm subbing for Mr. Jones. Well, you go to Student, Staff, and Others, the third from the top there. You touch on that. If you look across the top, it says Student, Staff, and Others. So I'm going to touch where it says Staff. It lists every staff member that is at your campus. And let's say that was Ryman Bowles' class. I'm going to account for Ryman Bowles. Ryman is absent, and it already put non-applicable, so I don't have to worry about location. Now, if this was an actual drill like we're going to do next week, the view roster is going to be bright green, and we can pull up Mr. Bowles' rosters, and we can account for him just like we did before. Since this is a simulation, Mr. Bowles doesn't have any rosters. All right, we're going to go back by touching those buttons at the top left of the screen. And essentially, we are done. We are finished. And all we're going to do is sit there and monitor what's going on by looking at our phone. If you need to go in and change someone's status, if it's changed as the drill is moving on, which it won't when we do our first drill, you can. But now you can even click out of the app if you wanted to. But you're basically monitoring what's going on. When you get to the end of a drill, when you're sitting there at the end of a drill and the principals have finished and the drill is over with, then they would go in and they would be clicking out of that drill, or they would be ending the drill. And this is kind of what it would look like when they got to the point where they were going to end the drill. There would be another notification that would come across your screen that would basically tell you. And of course, normally you have other things in progress. You'll have someone will sit there and say, a bell will go off, or there'll be some kind of process within your situation that will tell you that the drill is over with. But you'll also get this notification that says, and you'll see it pop up here in just a second. There it is on the screen. It says, incident closed. The emergency management test building secure perimeter drill has been closed. Application functionally is limited.